What's going on, everybody? I'm here to do a review for It Chapter 2. I remember going to see the first It a couple years ago, and I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't know how I was going to receive it, considering it is a remake of the original one that came out in the, I believe, the early 90s. And that one wasn't a movie that went to the theaters. It was on TV. Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid watching. I said I would never watch it again, and I still hold on to that. I never watched the original one again since then. So here we are with It Chapter 2. It is now 27 years later. All the kids are grown up. They're going on to live their own lives. You know, some are in relationships. Some have gone on to do very successful things. They pretty much just want to leave what happened with them as kids behind. They don't want to dwell on that anymore. Then they get a call from the Mike character. He's the only person who stayed in the town of Derry, which is in Maine, which I actually found out is actually a town in Maine called Derry. It is a real place. And I think they actually shot the movie there. And basically he has to call, basically something happens. Pennywise comes back, something happens. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm trying to keep this movie as spoiler-free as possible. I mean, this review as spoiler-free as possible. Something happens and it triggers, and he has to call all of his friends back to, you know, tell them to come back home because they have to find a way to take out Pennywise once and for all. Now, mind you, this is 27 years later. Like I said, they've gone on with their lives. They basically have blocked out anything that dealt with, or anything that they had to have dealt with involving Pennywise from back then. So when they get this call, they're like, who is this guy calling from Maine? It has to be somebody I know because that's where I'm from. And so it's like when they're all receiving the call, they're like, who is this calling this? Who is calling me? So when they find out who it is, they all decide to, you know, go back and, you know, put the pieces of the puzzle together to try to figure out how to finally kill Pennywise. Because as you know, Pennywise takes on the entity of a clown, but we all know that he is definitely far from being a clown. He is definitely not a clown, and they have to find a way to destroy him because he's definitely a creature. He's a being from another world, and that's basically pretty much the premise of it. I really did like the actors that they chose to pick as far as the grown-up versions of them. I will say that whoever's in that casting department did a good job because they pretty much all look spot on of the kid actors, pretty much, especially the Eddie character. He was with him and the Richie character were the two funniest people in the whole movie. Ironically, because in the first movie, when they were kids, they were the two funniest ones there too. So they were definitely the comedic relief of the film whenever they were on screen together and cracking jokes against each other. I think when I did my original review, which was on my original channel, I said that as well. And they pretty much did the same thing here as well. So it's like they brought like I said, when they did the casting for the adult versions of the child actors, they did a very good job of getting their likeness, trying to get them as closely to resemble them as much as possible. Again, I definitely have to tip my hat off to the actor that plays Pennywise, because when I was looking at some behind the scenes stuff, like I like to do my research and like get the point of view from people who worked on the film and stuff like that. They said that when he was on set, like he would walk around in the clown costume and being his regular self, but the minute that director said action, he would jump right into being Pennywise. And it's like, whoa, it's amazing how he was able to jump in and out of the character like that. Some people can't do that successfully. And they also said that it's one thing that that his character manages to do with his eye. And if you watch the movie, you'll be able to see it. Basically, where he has one eye looking at you and one looking away. They said that they wanted to give him like a contact to actually, or maybe CGI it, or maybe give him a contact of some sort to get his eye to look a different way. But he said no. The actor was able to do that himself, and how he was able to do it, I'm not sure. I guess that's just the hidden talent that he has. The part where Pennywise starts to drool whenever he's ready to eat, that was his idea. That's him really drooling. So I like method actors like that, people that can lose themselves into the role. There was definitely I would say it was some unexpected deaths in this movie. You can tell that this is a movie that can only be rated R. It cannot be anything less than that. I would highly suggest not taking your children to go see this, because they will have nightmares. I remember somebody telling me that they were trying to have a petition for a certain theater to boycott the movie because the kids couldn't, like, the kids went to see it or something like that. I'm like, why would you take your child to see it? Like, he's not that kind of a clown. Shoot, kids shouldn't even be going to see that Joker movie, quite honestly, when that comes out, even though he has on clown makeup. But yeah, like I said, I like the actor that they picked for Pennywise, and that's a lot of shoes to fill, especially for the Tim Curry version, which was the original one back in the day, because he did such a very phenomenal job with it as well. There's one scene in the movie that when they first announced that there was going to be a chapter 2, I said, I wonder if they're going to incorporate this part. I don't want to say it. I wonder if they're going to incorporate this part into the film. And sure enough, they did. And I'm so glad that they did. I would have been kind of upset if they did not put it in there, because it takes away from the Pennywise character. It's something to do with Pennywise. And what I like a little bit about this, also about this movie, is like a lot of back and forth. So in order for the characters to put the pieces of the puzzle together, in order to put everything, you know, and bring everything full circle, they have to basically go into their past and get something to bring back in order to do, like, I guess you could say, a ritual. So it's like, it's a combination of a horror film. It has some comedy in it. And it also has, I guess you can say, some sci-fi elements as well. Or some, I guess you could say, ritualistic elements, all wrapped into one film. It almost makes me want to go back and look at the original one, but I'm not going to take that risk, because like I said, the original one scared me. It's probably one of the few movies that I can only watch one time after watching the entire thing just the first time through. But I really did enjoy the film. It did have some jump scares in there. Like I said, it was some deaths in there that were unexpected. Like, I didn't see those coming, especially because of who died. It's not so much of how they died, it's about who died. I was like, oh, I can't believe they actually went there and actually did that. But, you know, it's Pennywise, and with him, it's like anything goes. So I really enjoyed the film. I will say the movie is pretty lengthy. The movie is almost 3 hours long. The movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes long, which I think is a bit longer than the first one, and rightfully so. And I like how everything pretty much wrapped up. It pretty much had a solid ending. It's only 2 parts, so I doubt there's going to be a third part. I mean, it would be pointless to bring out a third part. I mean, if they were to do that, they're wasting their time, and they're wasting budget. They're wasting money. So this is it. This is the last one. It's only 2 parts, and I think some films need to start doing that and have a cap for this, for these type of things. But hey, when they talk about wanting to have money and, you know, cash grabs and all of that, they can't really control that, because at the end of the day, the studios are the ones who make the final call. But I had to give this a letter grade. I would say I would give this movie an A. I really did enjoy it. Like I said, it had a good conclusion. I will say that it wrapped everything up perfectly for me. But this has been my review for It Chapter 2. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it down in the comments.